Hi, I'm Julian Payne. Welcome to Crash Course European History. Today we'll be talking about the Crimean War. The Crimean War started due to the failure of the concert of Europe. Not that type of concert. The goal of the Concert of Europe was to reinforce stability and peace within Europe and reunite France, Prussia, Russia, and Great Britain as one union. In doing this, they intended to maintain a balance of power among the regions of Europe. Originally, Russia and Austria were the concert's main supporters, but as Russia wanted territory in the Balkans, they lost Austria as an ally because Austria also wanted territory in the Balkans. And in this case, in the Crimean War, the Concert of Europe unifies against Russia, so they do not support the unification against their own country. The collapse of the Concert of Europe was due to the lack of unification and alignment among the great powers within the concert. The original unification and alignment that they had was a result of the Napoleonic Wars, and once Napoleon was out of power, the French weren't really a great danger anymore, so there was nothing for them to really ally against. There was no work left for them to do. You might be asking, why did the Crimean War even happen? Well, why did it happen? Oh! I almost forgot. I don't need this anymore. Kobe. To explain how the Crimean War truly started, we have to go back to 1774 at the end of the Russo-Turkish War with the Treaty of Küçük-Kaynarca, which was between the Russians and the Ottomans, and it gave Russia the right to protect Christians in the Ottoman Empire. Fast forward about 70 years and you're in 1852. The Ottomans control Palestine and they agree to Napoleon III, he's French. They agreed to Napoleon III's demands to provide enclaves in Palestine for Roman Catholic religious orders for their protection. This goes against the Treaty of Küçük-Kaynarca, which basically was saying that Russia was allowed to protect Greek Orthodox religious orders in the Holy Land. Once the Ottomans accepted the demands of Napoleon III, Russia was obviously not happy, and this led to Tsar Nicholas I ordering Russian troops to occupy land on the Danube River until the Ottomans guaranteed the rights for Greek Orthodox Christians. The Ottomans obviously refused the Russian request for the protection of Orthodox Christians, so Russia continued to press forward into Ottoman land. The Ottomans, in reaction to this, declared war with Russia in 1853. Shortly after, the rest of Europe showed some of their support for the Ottomans in this dispute. We see France and England, both countries which held considerable power in the Concert of Europe. They also declare war against Russia, and this move is clearly a sign of their step toward continuing their mission of maintaining the balance of power within Europe.
We declare war.
With basically everyone unified against Russia, there was very little chance that they'd win this war. The Ottomans issued a deal known as the 4 Points, which are basically a list of demands that forced Russia out of Ottoman lands, revoked their right to protect Orthodox Christians, and it also made the Black Sea usable for navigation for all countries. Another year goes by, and Russia still has not complied with these demands. Eventually, even Italy steps into the action, declaring war against Russia in 1855. So after Italy joins the war, Austria threatens to join the war too, but only if Russia does not comply to the 4 Points. Russia agrees to the demands, but only after Tsar Nicholas I dies and his son Alexander II takes power. Alexander, unlike his dad, is starkly opposed to the war and avoids it at all costs. Hence, his accepting of the 4 Points.
Now I go to pray for Russia and for you all. After Russia, I love you more than anything else in the world. Serve Russia.
Now we move to the actual fighting of the war, which was very sloppy and poorly managed.
death tolls were as large as 900,000, but a lot of these came from the poor living conditions of the soldiers. The war was primarily fought on the Crimean Peninsula. British and French troops, numbered around 50,000, fought to take back the city of Sevastopol. This action was known by the British as the Siege of Sevastopol. The siege consisted of Ottoman, French, and British forces and is seen as a classic siege of all time. The city of Sevastopol was important because it held Russia's naval fleet on the Black Sea. As I previously said, a greater portion of the death toll in the war came from poor living conditions or disease, rather than death from combat. This is mostly thanks to Florence Nightingale and her Light Brigade. Nightingale was a British nurse who pioneered modern nursing and saved countless lives tending to wounded soldiers in the war. Nightingale.
You have news.
What is this? Oh! It's a clip from a major English newspaper at the time. It's an article about Florence Nightingale. I'll have to read it. She is a ministering angel without any exaggeration in these hospitals. And as her slender form glides quietly along each corridor, every poor fellow's face softens with gratitude at the sight of her. When all the medical officers have retired for the night and silence and darkness have settled, down upon those miles of prostrate sick, she may be observed alone, with a little lamp in her hand, making her solitary rounds.
Have no fear, soldier. I'm Florence Nightingale. I'll save you. My hair fell off. It's okay.
Oh, I am all better now.
You're welcome.
Some other major battles of the Crimean War, in addition to the Siege of Sevastopol, are the Battle of Alma on September 20th, 1854, followed by the Battle of Balaclava on October 25th, 1854. After all of this fighting and violence, the war resolves with an agreement known as the Peace of Paris. What are you looking at, Coops? I don't want to deal with this. I'm gone. I'm out of here.
The Peace of Paris resulted in Russia no longer having control of the maritime trade on the Danube River. It also recognized Turkish control of the Danube River. Russia also agreed to make the Black Sea neutral, and it returned all occupied settlements to the Ottoman Empire. The independence of the Ottoman Empire was also recognized in this time, and Britain and France were able to ensure that they could focus on the battles that they had inside of the Ottoman Empire. The Peace of Paris also sparked nationalism in Britain and France, and it was one of the first modern wars, leaving the public to have to figure out how to deal with these new wars. The aftermath of the war left Russia far behind.
I've lost my vodka, and I am shocked that I have fallen so far behind in military power. Now we must industrialize and modernize our army.
Thank you, Mother Russia, and thank you for watching our video. This has been Crash Course History with Julian Payne.